The Imperial Magistrate reached a verdict. I have guilty or innocent. Spare me this mockery of
and that's
justice.
what's going to happen with this. You know, like everyone's going to fuss for a bit, and then they're going to realize, like, oh, you know, I can stop cosplaying. It's, you know, like the act is over. You know, a mom and dad are home, and I'm just going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
I'm going to grumble about it for a little bit.
It's true, and that's happening. And
Yeah.
the rhetoric, like, oh, I've had some friends that got it, and it was just like a flu. You know, I hate that one. You know, like I've had it. Trust me, it's not fucking good, man. It's not good. It's very bizarre. It's a horror. It's not fucking. You don't want it. You don't want that.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you say what you want, but your immune system has fucking nothing to do with it. It's a nasty fucking virus. Depends which one you get now. You can get some really exciting versions of it now.
Yeah. Upgrades.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Okay. So I guess that's that. Yeah. We can
save that for the archives.
Oh, no. That's welcome to the Extinction Agenda, everyone.
Extinction Agenda. World order. This is just how it goes.
Yeah, we represent the new world order around here, and and also sometimes we talk about Kevin Smith. There was no good way to transition to Kevin Smith.
There's no way to transition. Kevin Smith.
Who else
is an odd character.
Yeah, you know who else is a nanny state? I don't know. Yeah, so. We decided that we would so on your bookshelf you've got a little something called the Widening Gyre.
And Cacophony I also had.
Right. So we were like, okay, fine, you know, as in our ongoing quest to sort of like just figure out what's going on your newly emerged shelf, we were like, okay, fine, some Kevin Smith. And then we would also check out Clerks. Because I saw
Batman to death too.
That's true. I could talk Batman all day. Like anyone's in. Yeah, and this book is actually like an interesting Batman in the sense that you can talk about it. It's a weird Batman, but I guess we should start from the beginning. From Clerks. When was fucking Clerks made? 1994. There we go.
Okay, so we were younger. Okay.
Yeah, a little young.
Yeah,
and I have no fucking. I haven't pieced together in my mind how this became. Because like at 14 or 15, I saw this movie, and it was talked about. You know, like we lived in Timmins, so like, and if anyone is, you know, Timmins is far up fucking north in Ontario, like, and it's pre-internet days, like, you know. So how did this get Canadian up there?
That's right.
Yeah. So
no, I don't know. And I also I don't know if you noticed, but this is very, very, this is critically acclaimed. Like this is, there's no slouch in ratings for this movie. This is well liked professionally, and in the critic circuit as well. Which is odd.
Whoa. Oh my goodness. I'm looking at that right now. Yeah. 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb.
There's nothing to say about it. It's fucking certified fresh, buddy.
Yeah. And that's very strange to me because, I mean, I didn't like this movie. I guess it was charming to an extent. I laughed at maybe 2 instances, like genuine laughing.
I cracked up a couple times. Yeah, I was guilty because I was pretty stone faced for the beginning part, and then there was a couple times where I just got caught.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like there's stilted dialogue. Like it is very obviously someone who's just like fucking around and making a movie with some people who aren't professional actors. Some of the people are pretty good. Like the principal actors aren't bad, but all the side cast and stuff like that, like the fucking why can't I think of word, you know, like the secondary cast, they are not actors, you know, just like the people who come up to the cash and shit like that. Like they're all still yeah well, you know, Jay and Silent Bob is actually, Jay's maybe the best part of this movie for me.
He is.
He came out and he was immediately interesting.
Yeah, he was very interesting, and he also had some lines that were, I don't know. You have to wonder if he was like just unleashed, or if this was scripted. More impressive if he was scripted.
That's a good point. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that because like his delivery is not. It seems very genuine. Although sometimes, like actually at the end, in the final dialogue that he gives about some bitches just lots of most bitches will just cheat on you or something like that. But they're not bringing lasagna around there. Like he starts delivering a line and then he fucks it up, but then he says, "Oh, I fucked it up," and then he delivers the line again. But it works because he's a stoner. But I'm pretty sure he fucked up the line in that moment and just went with it, and then it ended up in the movie. I am looking at the script of Clerks right now while we talk. I'll just see if there's lines.
I mean, like there was there was a couple I did enjoy the Death Star conversation. Obviously, that's actually almost like a classic conversation.
I do think every time we talk about anything, I do think about that conversation. Pretty much, especially our Astro City episode. I might have even made reference to it.
In case anyone has no intention of watching this movie or has ever seen this movie, basically they allude to the fact that the first Death Star was blown up full of military personnel and bad guys. The second one was under construction. So basically the Rebel Alliance destroyed a gigantic construction project, killing thousands and thousands of civilians and independent contractors.
Yeah.
Which is pretty really hilarious to think about, like welders and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really making them sort of villains in their own, just sort of just a funny take. Yeah, a small idea for a little conversation.
All right, so here from the script, Jay. Need some tits and ass. Yeah, Silent Bob lights a smoke. Jay, I feel good today, Silent Bob. We're going to make some money. And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to go to that party and get some pussy. I'm going to fuck this bitch, that bitch, Blue Velvet Hopper. I'll fuck anything that moves. Yeah, so it's scripted, man. It's all here. That's fucking awesome. Tonight, you and me are going to go off that fucker's head, and I'm going to take off his fucking soul. Remind me if he tries to buy anything from us, and cut off leaves and twigs, or fucking shit in that motherfucker's bag. Actually, I don't know if he says that. Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, no matter what, he delivered.
Yeah.
He delivered what he was supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This movie's like I was immediately struck so hard where I really want to before we talk about it, like kind of some charming bits. I think I already said, but I really don't think this is a good movie. I don't think I liked it, but there was some bits to like about it, and like we already said, some funny stuff. So like what I liked about it is that I like the black and white bit, and I like the aspect to aspect shots. For the first bit, you don't even see Dante's face, the main whiny character. When he answers the phone and stuff like that, and then like you're just looking at small little bits, and like that's not fucking high art or anything, but it manages to make it at least visually interesting, which is otherwise a really boring fucking script. Like one guy is in a convenience store and whining all day. That's kind of tough. Like you got to sell that. So I think it does a pretty good job of that.
I think that I don't know, maybe some people would feel like this will, but I feel like a lot of the big thing too is just that it's relatable. The script is like, and the characters, I mean, they're working, and they're adults and their jobs suck shit, and they're just trying to find some like middle ground to like exist where they're like enjoying their lives, and I think that's super relatable, and fuck, it's a funny thing, to just and like I think that's like I don't know like why we toe the line that way as parents, or why people push that fucking narrative all through your high school career that like, but I mean like you're gonna work a job eventually. I mean, I guess you can do the fantasy Bezos thing if you want, but I mean, like, you're probably gonna end up working a job, and that's gonna be it. You're gonna go there from 9 to 5, and obviously, it might not be as desolate as the jobs these guys have, but it might be. And I don't know. I just think that kind of ground level living, like for normal people, is just like sort of a nice setting for this.
It's fair, and at the same time, it's also okay. I think two things that I think about when I hear that is like, I agree, and the only thing that makes this movie work in that regard is like these guys look like they're 30, but they're meant to be 22, and so like cognitively while you're watching it, you can sort of identify with it, but it makes sense for these guys' age. Like they're not going to be like Fortune 500 fucking heroes or anything, although they kind of are, 22. No, well, I don't know. I don't want to. I guess I would have been working in a convenience store or such like at that age.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense. And then shit. What was the other thing? It also it's not realistic, but it's still relatable. Like they're still having sort of a. It's all about the dialogue, and the setting is just sort of something that's happening in the background a lot of the time. But they're still also talking about what's happening in the background all the time. Like it kind of fluctuates between those two modes. And I think that works, because if you played this straight, boring. And if you played it the other way, unrelatable. Right.
You're right. And I think the camera work was good. Like the universe that this movie is like set in is like etched in my mind. It's just a shitty store, like with a video store next door to it, and it's just so vivid. And that seems stupid, but I mean, you just accomplished that by sort of locking in this universe.
Yeah, like there's specific shots. Like I'm looking at the movie right now, and it's just framed, and like you can see it. You can see them in a corner store. Like everybody knows what a fucking corner store looks like. They haven't changed since 1994, and probably earlier. And some of the complaints they have about, like, you can't believe the fucking shit that would happen. You mean I got to drink this coffee hot? I always think about that, man. That makes me laugh so much. And I'm just like, yeah, man, that's exactly what it's like to deal with the fucking public. They're just fucking stupid. And you're just stuck there, like, and the indignity of it is that you're just dealing with these stupid fucking humans for a pittance. And that's probably that's maybe the saying that out loud, that is universally and always going to be a truth, because you couldn't pay me, like, you can barely pay me enough to deal with humans. They are the fucking worst. And so anyone who's working in retail is gonna fucking glob onto this fucking movie, and the vast majority of people have worked in retail. And it's just like,
at least from our generations.
Yeah, for sure. So there's that. I kind of like that. Jay's funny, and
Randall's great.
Randall.
Speaking of the movie, I was just reading a little spin-off of the movie rental moment. Where it's like, I don't watch movies. Have you heard anything about either of them? I find it's best to stay out of other people's affairs. I don't appreciate your ruse, ma'am. My what?
Yeah, I don't appreciate your. Yeah.
That was a great interaction. And like while stuff was happening, I was like, fuck, this is stupid. But then like revisiting in my head after the movie was over, I was like, that was okay. That was funny. That was clever. That interaction was great. The lines were great. And I mean, I think you have to come to that conclusion at some point. I like the Silent Bob, the single line of the whole movie. Do you know that one?
What,
he says, there's a million fine-looking women in the world, dude, but they don't all bring you lasagna at work. Most of them just cheat on you.
Oh shit, it was him that said that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think maybe the problem with Kevin Smith is that, and I complained about this before, is just like this movie is his movie, and this movie is his story, and then whatever he's done going forward, he's just tried to redo this movie and this story over and over and over and over, and even with the same gag, where Silent Bob speaks at the end, and then because he realizes that the authorial voice is sort of like accepted, he talks more and more and more. Or at the very least, I was thinking of like Mallrats. He talks more, and then Chasing Amy, like it's like he gives the final line. You were chasing Amy, man, and you're just like, fuck off, like you do something else. He sort of becomes the definition of a one-trick pony.
I mean, I feel like that's part of the universe building thing, though. He had some. Yeah, I guess maybe he just redid the same movie over and over off the sheer luck of the first script.
Yeah, and admittedly, I would too. Like he could have never known that making this movie would make him Kevin Smith one day.
Were his other movies bad, though, is the question.
A lot of people like Mallrats more than this movie. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I haven't seen it in forever either.
Yeah,
but I remember it fondly. And Chasing Amy, I know, is sort of well liked, and so is Dogma, maybe not.
I watched some scenes from Dogma in preparation for this, and I can't remember. Alan Rickman plays a character. A prominent character, and like I gotta give a movie pass, like and it's also got Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and I kind of like to watch those guys do things, and so I'm thinking like maybe it's pretty. Chris Rock shows up. What's it? Lauren Fiorentino is the main character. Like a great cast. I like watching them do things. I don't know if that equals a good movie though. Yeah. So. Anyway, Alanis Morissette as God but it didn't really work. I did watch that final scene. It's a good score though, man. Alan Rickman, fucking, that's dope. That's hard to do.
Yeah, that is strange.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that scene with Randall where you spouted off all the pornos.
Shit, porno, yeah. That's my favorite Randall scene. I like what makes that work is the woman holding the child. Well, he's just like rhyming off all these pornos, and she like doesn't look offended.
Fucking volume 8.
Yeah.
I need your cock. Ash worshipping rim jobbers. What? My cunt and 8 shafts. Come gargling naked sluts. They're bad. These are awesome. Come on, Eileen was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, and then and then the punchline, of course, he asks like, "Oh, and by the way, child friendly thing." The it's okay. So all right, what I don't like about this movie is fucking Dante, and I just don't give a shit about this fucking guy. That might just be like a temperament thing, but I don't give a fuck about this guy he's just being seriously used by a convenience store, and he won't quit because he's a fucking pussy, and he's got all these girls coming after him. Like, it's just like he's not Archie, he's a fucking loser, and they're falling all over him, and you're just like, why? Well, and at this moment you're like, Kevin Smith, like, is Dante supposed to be Kevin Smith? Is this like a wish for, and I think it is, because this is the story that he keeps telling. Like, the ultimate story is like, there's a Dante out there, and there's all these bitches that want to fuck him, but he's so, like self-conscious and weird that he can't fuck all the bitches that want to fuck him. And he's also going to complain about retail or sports.
Doesn't, in a self-aware kind of way, doesn't Randall lay down that speech?
And that's fine for this movie. Like, yeah, he kind of he gives him, I'd give this guy the fucking speech too. It's the Cyclops speech, right? When Wolverine tells him, like, got all these beautiful women coming at you, and I don't know what your problem is, Psych.
He says, you sound like an asshole. Jesus, nobody twisted your arm to be here today.
Yeah, he sounds like a fucking asshole. And and there should be a catharsis for that. Like if it is to be Kevin
I thought the
Smith's
fight
story,
at the end kind of was.
Maybe I'm thinking about the author though. I'm thinking about Kevin Smith, the later guy who's telling stories. Like, why did he need to have Dante still around? Like, he told the story where Dante is grew up, but then Kevin Smith himself as an author did not grow up. And like that's not a strike against Clerks, because that's unfair. But it may be, like, to my mind, it's a strike against like anything else that Kevin Smith has produced. Because grow up, dude. You yourself realize you should grow up and fucking spread your wings. Although that resulted in Dogma, so maybe he was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to my roots.
Yeah, the Dogma 1999.
Oh, was it really so late? Like
Great
when
ratings, dude. Great
when
reviews. Almost an 8 out of 10 on a quarter of a million reviews. I mean, this just in.
Shit,
man.
sorry, I'm watching.
Kevin Smith's brilliant, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm getting to the scene in Clerks when that Jewish fella shows up, wants to use the shitter. I love that. They got the big titties. That's classic.
So, Mallrats just adds Jason Lee to the whole mix and Ben Affleck, and like,
yeah,
they have a crazy good cast. Also,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, he's probably lots of fun, and I think they're all from New Jersey. I think that's the connection. I think these guys maybe were all, I'm talking a little out of my ass, but I'm guessing they were all in film school
Michael
together.
Rooker, are you kidding me?
Stan Lee showed up for that? Oh, that's right. Because he talks about the Thing's fucking Rocky Dick. Maybe we made a mistake. Maybe you should have watched Mallrats.
Yeah, there's a lot more Jay and Silent Bob in it too, right? No H smoking weed, doing coke.
Yeah, and there's that thing where they swing down on a rope. I think it's I think it's indicative. I don't know what else to say about Clerks though. Like I kind of liked it. It was fun. It's got stuff, and then what are you left with after that? I don't know. Oh, Berserker. Sorry.
Yeah,
you've got that.
What's the fucking thing that he says before that?
Oh fuck, I don't know.
I'm going to
maybe I'll
Dick Berserker.
Yeah, I like that, and that's another Jay and Silent Bob interaction though, where like Jay's like edging him on, and he's like a shy, nervous guy. I love that interaction, and he doesn't want to do it, and then they're like, yeah, and he's like, bitches love it, and then he's like, and then he starts performing.
And then the Russian guy unleashes the Berserker.
Yeah.
That's the catharsis of the movie too, isn't it?
Oh, what do you mean? Like midway? You're just like...
No, at the end, the friendship rekindles over the Berserker, doesn't it?
Oh shit. Honestly, I don't remember. Did they listen to Berserker?
Randall Berserker is out of the store.
Oh shit. Oh, does he? Oh, that's funny. Like he's singing it as he goes out.
Yeah.
Another weird thing that Randall does when he comes into the convenience store, he does that Bill Cosby walking into a room maneuver. I was like, what is that? What is he doing? And looking at it just now, it fucking occurred to me. He's like doing that thing from the Cosby Show, which you wouldn't know. This movie is very 90s, even the way they're dressed. Like, I think that's another thing. It's very of the moment. Like, why do they emphasize that Dante is wearing Doc Martens early on? Like, he looks like a stupid asshole. I don't know if he looked cool in any respect back then, but I think that was part of the cachet of this movie. It was kind of like semi-hip slackers. And I think that's always going to sell.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I liked the hockey scene on the roof too. When it was over, I really felt like it sucked.
Yeah.
But then honestly, the next morning when I started cashing back in on the moments in the movie, it was good. I don't know.
Well, I think it's a movie that, the saying a movie is greater than the sum of its parts. I think that Clerks is a movie that is exactly the sum of its parts. Like it doesn't exceed its parts. Like the parts are kind of interesting, but then like, do we really think that the part where that guy at the beginning is like he starts a mob of people against anti-cigarettes because he's part of a chewing gum corporation? Like I don't think of that. I only remember like you sucked 36 dicks. Which is the scene that comes after that. Like there's all these interstitial bits.
I feel like that was sort of like just the he was just sort of was like warming up to the pummeling that Dante is going to receive working there.
That's fair. I mean that is exactly what it does. I just don't think like taken together, like it doesn't come together as a crescendo or anything. It's just like here's a bunch of shit that happened, a bunch of vignettes where there's sort of a continuity. I don't want to. Sorry, this is going to be stupid. I don't want to compare it to. I'm going to compare it to Pulp Fiction, but not favorably, and not to compare them in any real way, but just like the narrative. It's just like, okay, so Clerks is very vignettes, and it's narratively like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like these things happened in a sequence, whereas vignettes can be chronologically mixed and jumbled, and they can help draw moments out and bring surprise to you. And Clerks brings no surprises. It's very linear, and the vignettes are only there, to my mind, to like paper over the fact that it's a weak concept. Like there's no story here. And so the only way you can do it is to break it up into sections and have a through line where everything like sort of resolves at the end. But it's not really a story. It's kind of like it's someone who's watched fucking sitcoms on TV all their life and thought that that's what movies are. And that, oh man, that hurts. That feels like a true statement, though.
That is kind of messed up thing. Did you know that he directed the movie Tusk?
I didn't know there. Okay, so I didn't know there was a movie called Tusk, and I didn't know that he directed it. I can guess what it is, though. Is it a giant walrus?
It's a. Hang on, let me just read you the.
As a matter of fact, it is a giant walrus.
A brash, arrogant podcaster gets more than he bargained for when he travels to Canada to interview a mysterious recluse who has a disturbing fondness for walruses. I'm pretty sure he like kidnaps him and starts like basically doing surgeries on him to turn him into a walrus. It's like a fucking splatter movie.
Did he
not well received?
Did he write it, or is he just like, you know what? I'll do some fucking Tusk. He just directed it. All right. Well,
with the $3 million budget and the Apple guy as the lead role.
Jesus. They even have a little fucking documentary I see here. Walrus-esque, the making of Tusk.
Hey, Jay and Silent Bob reboot came out 2 years ago also.
Really?
The really shitty fucking 5.7 out of 10.
Well, they're all so fucking old. I think maybe that's the part that bugs me the most at this point. Like, I just saw like shit about Clerks 3. They're like, Clerks 3 wrapping up. You're like, guys, you're like,
give
really
me some Clerks 3.
Okay.
I think the issue with Jay and Silent Bob is that I didn't have fucking Dante and Randall.
That's it. That's what's missing. I don't know.
Yeah.
They both look like they're both fucking gray at this point. I see the pictures and I'm like, this is sad.
Man, people aren't allowed to get old. We're getting old, man.
Oh wow, are you fucking? Am I age shaming at this point? They look like shit. They look like fucking shit, and I don't want to see these people.
The movies aren't about anything. Like, yeah.
I think it's sad. I think the whole thing is sad, and I like they're. I'm not going to say that Kevin Smith could do better because I'm not certain that he can. Wow. Yeah, but what a fucking career this guy had. I was tempted. All right, so let's shuttle over to the Widening Gyre, unless you got some more Clerks.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay for Clerks. I mean, 37 dicks. At least we brought it up.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to get too far into that.
Yeah. Although we didn't talk about the, like
In
his
a
girlfriend
row?
that. Yeah. So, it's I never watched Comic Book Men, because I was looking at the Wikipedia on this Widening Gyre book, and unknown to me and unknown to you, by issue 6, there's no more Widening Gyre. The story's not done. There was supposed to be like 12 issues or something like that, and like they stopped because they had to film Comic Book Men on whatever fucking channel, and they were like, or they were going to take 2 months off, and then they just never came back to it. And have you ever watched Comic Book Men? Was it worth
No.
it? Oh,
No.
okay. I'll tell you right now, it wasn't worth it though. Okay, yeah, I was just curious. The 7 seasons, wow, good for them. Really made because I guess they own a store. I wonder what the reality television series. I guess you're probably making more money doing that, and you're probably having more fun. Fuck this comic shit.
I found a pretty funny article. Worst of the worst. Batman: The Widening Gyre #6. This is one of the quotes from this article. Smith somehow managed to punch through the bottom of the barrel and discovered a world of storytelling so thoroughly awful, I can almost admire it for its sheer purity.
And that's not fair, because I liked this book. And I think anyone who's given Kevin Smith, okay, I'm going to give Kevin Smith shit for a very particular thing by the end of this conversation. But this was an engaging book. It was a weird Batman that I don't want to see at all, ever again. No thanks. But I can appreciate it for what it was. Like, it was him trying to take that Clerks sensibility to Batman. Totally inappropriate. But also, at this time, like, Grant Morrison was already doing that thing where he was asking, or they were asking, sorry, what would it be like if Batman's reality, like, life was real? And what if Catwoman was at a certain point Catwoman in costume X, and then, and later on in costume Y? And this story does a really good job of entering into that sort of similar headspace. Like, what if these characters had a history? And I think it makes excellent use of that, actually. And there's a lot of good bromance comedy that comes between Batman and his sidekicks as a consequence, and even his love interest, Silver St. Cloud. And yeah, I smiled. I found myself smiling through this whole fucking thing.
You know what? I hesitate to call it bad also, because I feel like he went after a couple of things. Like, he used like drug references. He ramped up like violence and sex and stuff, which is very jarring for a Batman book, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not just violence, like prison violence and like splatter violence and like Batman's obviously violent, but I mean, like, he somehow managed to like sort of like escalate things so that there were, I wouldn't say it was like higher stakes, but just definitely like subject matter that other people either aren't allowed to broach or just haven't really taken the time to or made the effort to. But he decided he wanted to, or he had a story to tell. People must have been excited because of his celebrity status, so they let him have his carte blanche.
Oh, he certainly had that. Fuck.
Yeah, and then he almost treated it. This reminded me a little bit of like Bat manga, almost, in a couple of spots, where it reminded me of Adam West a little bit. The way that he kind of like hokied the villains, and the way the art was delivered, almost in that Allred style.
Oh my goodness, you're right. Yeah, well, and that's when they're doing the flashbacks, and that comes into that incorporate and transcend thing. Like, even Batman's symbol sort of changes, and he looks like an old timey Batman as he's beating up Baron Blitzkrieg. Back when, and it's when Robin was a kid. Sprachen Sie Deutsch, Dummkopf, and you're just like, man, that's a charming Robin. And he's holding the Torah, and he's wearing the little hat, and shit like that in front of the Nazi fella. It's a full page spread, and you're like, I don't know. It's just like it
even
works.
transcends and makes his Nightwing ends up being charming as a result of.
Yeah, exactly.
Like after the fact, you're like, oh, this guy just like grew up like battling shit and dealing with Bruce's personality and just sort of kept his own style and flair,
Yeah. No, it's got a real love of the characters, which comes through. Like he presents them well. Like it's not on the face of it bad. And getting to what you were saying about, like it opens up with a really, I'm not going to say horrific, but really jarring moment of anti-Semitic violence. Like it's really like, oh, okay, like this is what we're going to be having in this comic.
I feel like that was like a tone-setting thing, right?
It is, yeah. And I don't know Kevin Smith's relationship with Judaism. But getting back to Clerks, like the central character, like that old Jewish fellow who like fucking dies jerking off in the bathroom. That's a real important, like dead Jews and like play a really important role in his sort of narratives. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not saying he's fucking Nazi or anything like that. That'd be stupid. But I'd be curious about his relationship with. I bet he has Jewish family members, or is perhaps himself Jewish. He
definitely wants to take shots.
Yeah. Well, he's not really taking a shot here.
No, but, at and around. Like he doesn't want to shy away from the subject matter.
Yeah, like in the same way that like
it gives him a shock value a little bit.
Well, it's kind of like a Seinfeld thing, right? Like Seinfeld's super Jewish, and it shows up in the background, but they're never like, of course they don't have like they don't have people killing Jews in Seinfeld, but yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of in the background. It's it's just one of those things that they're going to talk about. That's true. They did have the soup Nazi. Yeah. So anyway, that's how it. And I like this artist actually. I'm looking at some of this stuff, and it comes off really well, like this Will Flanagan guy, and he was I think he works at the store or something. Like I don't know this guy, but this is good stuff. It's not great, man, but
his art's very, very cohesive, like panel to panel. I'm not thinking about his art. I liked his style. And he didn't like Kevin Smith, obviously, probably not probably. I mean, obviously, he doesn't write a lot of comics. It's not like his like number one thing. We're not talking about Chris Claremont or something, right?
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't think that he's like gonna be adept at like lining up his screenplay so that a comic book artist would be doing his normal like 9 to 5 on his script, right? It's likely that he did the script and just like pulled no punches. So I would imagine doing comic book art for someone like that would be more difficult.
Well, actually, that's interesting. I don't know how I would judge that, but like I see you either way.
Yeah, I might be wrong, but I mean, like, I think that Kevin Smith was fairly demanding in terms of action, new characters, vehicles, landscapes. Like, we were in the Batcave, we were in Superman's headquarters, we were at fucking dinner balls, we were home relaxing, we were away on vacation, we were we were even at the beginning. We were in Arkham Asylum. We were like, fuck, man, he got no mercy.
Yeah. No, and actually, I'm looking at his I'm looking at his panels in Arkham Asylum. Like the panels become vines. It really immerses you in, so if you're dealing with Poison Ivy, like it's not just that you're dealing with her in the panel, like she becomes the panel. And you're kind of stuck in that universe, and he's walking through it like he's in a deep forest. That's a nice effect. Like that's super simple. And then his Poison Ivy is so sexualized, really sexualized. Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and that's, that, and then at that point you're like, you kind of accept it in that moment, because you're like, okay, I get what you're going for, like Catwoman super sexual, Poison Ivy super sexual, so like, you're Kevin Smith and you're just gonna fucking dig into it. Yeah, and I'm like, it's fine in this universe where the women are all sex pots and fucking sorry, Catwoman's fucking, I do not like Catwoman in this story, and it's really like a disservice to the, it's real disservice to the, because she's just like this jilted girlfriend, and that's all she is. I wore this costume for you, and like, who's that fucking bitch, and that's it. Like, she's just on the periphery.
It's a real he definitely didn't do anything to like well, he didn't do anything to establish her at all. She was just like I don't even know what the point of her really was in that scenario.
Well, I think by issue 12 she would have, come back and been revealed to be the partner that he needed or something like that. Like, I think that's kind of what they were aiming at. She's like, I'm going to assume that Chris Claremont is not super clever, and so he has his characters say what they mean. And so she's, and because he always picks because women are always right in his narratives, they, like they're sort of the fathers in his narrative. She would have been revealed to be right or something like that, and then they I don't know. Anyway, that's what I was thinking. But who knows? Because you never know. They stopped because they had to make a reality TV show.
Yeah. Right. I mean, like, what did you think of how do you pronounce his name?
I don't know.
Baphomet.
Baphomet. Yeah, it's Baphomet. That's oh man, that's such a funny character, because it's and it's a weird moment. Like, it's the neat thing about this story is Batman is so vulnerable, because like all of his kids are growing up, and he's kind of dealing with his mortality. He's like, I'm gonna have to stop one day. I need an heir, and like this guy showed up, and it's kind of like the Azrael story. In the same respect, like, I think that's one angle.
It takes the pressure off him. Like, he all of a sudden has the pressure taken off of him for like fighting crime and beating the shit out of losers in Gotham. Like, there's a guy out there just fucking up his top tier villains, just taking the pressure off of him, and all of a sudden he just sort of like, he shifts gears. His guard comes down. Like, he's able to sort of like be something a little bit different. And and then obviously that sets up for the nightmare scenarios.
Yeah, and that's it. And you feel there was a master villain at play, and like even the Joker seems to recognize the Baphomet, and we still haven't talked about like that relationship.
And they overtly, like, he obnoxiously overtly like just drops hints. Oh, there's something evil about that name, like,
that's true. Yeah, it's too villainous.
Like, I know they like gag reel you the whole way along that he's get double crossed by this guy, but then he like makes a huge effort to drop your guard. Like, Batman tracks him back home to his like wife and kids. So you're like, well, that guy's no fucking threat now. Batman's got him dead to rights.
Yeah, but it also makes him seem like a fucking loser. And I was just like, why?
Yeah, and he just seems like a piece of shit. He was like about to get back on the bus or something and go back to work after he fought a couple guys.
Yeah. And you're just like, my brother died once. Like, and I would be really curious. Like, I think maybe the strength of this story is like, I'm really curious about where this went. Like, what was their plan? Like, okay, so here's why people don't like this story. It's because Kevin Smith has Batman in a moment of really awkward and really inappropriate Batman. Like, it's just not appropriate to Batman. It's stupid. But still, he has that thing where he talks about, like, remember that moment in Batman Year One where I came out and told, the gangsters that their time was over, and I put out the light. Actually, I pissed myself in that moment. I had a bladder spasm, and you're just like, that's, that doesn't do anything. Like, that's not even funny. And it's not real. You don't want it to be realistic. Like, in his complaint, his response was, firemen have bladder spasms, policemen, stuff like that. Fine, like that. Maybe that's true. That's probably true. But
well, I
I
think
don't.
that, but I think that that's in line with the narrative that he was going for in this thing, was like that basically
Yep.
he wanted you to have a weakened Batman. He wanted to be true to the character, so he gives him, the internal dialogue. He gives him the detective skills. He tracks this guy down. He does everything right. He does everything Batmanish. He's fast. He's mean. He's not in any danger from any of his villains. He's Batman. But they want you to have a weakened version, and I feel like that story sort of adds to that. And you want a Batman that's like softened up. He's got his guard down. Like, you need an excuse for this to happen to Batman, because this doesn't happen to an on-point Batman. This doesn't happen to like peak Batman. It's got to be like it's like almost like an old wrestling gag. Like it's like, you don't want to you need like, you can't weaken your main baby face here, right? So you need an excuse, or a pile of excuses, to be like, he wasn't at peak performance when this happened to him, And I think that's what he was trying to do, or that's my interpretation of it. But
It's possible, Okay, so anyone who hasn't read this, the funny part about this is that because there's no issues like that continue it, like it has the nihilistic ending. Fucking century. So Batman, through all this vulnerability that we've been alluding to, like his long lost, and this gets to one of the things I want to say about Kevin Smith later. Like, so this Silver St. Cloud character, this is from Steve Englehart and Marshall Rogers' run on Batman, and I think it was the late 70s. It's very well thought of. It's very good. It looks fantastic. Marshall Rogers did Detective Zinc, and he does a really great Batman. And this book is just like, remember the love interest of Batman at that time. We're going to bring that back. Yeah, I don't know. He oh shit. He just really sells that love story. He brings back Silver St. Cloud in a really interesting and charming, sort of sexy way, and then he fucking kills her. And that's it. That's how the story ends. Like, forget the plot or anything, but it's just like, I don't know if she gets fridged. I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, you mean like, you're not sure how this like transitions into the next phase.
Yes, yeah. Like, is she dead? She probably is. Someone just slit her fucking throat. And that's how yeah, like, just there's blood spraying everywhere, and she's all shocked. I think
he says it, doesn't he?
Does he? Oh my goodness. Unless it's I wonder if, like, because there's a way to get out of that as a comics writer. You could be like, it's a psychic projection. Like, he's already had psychic projections actually in this story. Remember that there was that villain who he's fighting, and it makes him think that the individual looks like Silver St. Cloud, and then he gets fucking clocked as a consequence of all the something like that could have happened, and I'm curious if that's what would have happened. Probably not.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I thought I really liked the ending, and like you say, it really made me want to, like, it would, like, I'd be interested even to just sort of peek at what the script would be for the next one.
Yeah. I don't need to see it. It's just like, this is after he fucking runs her off the road and like pulls hair to test it.
And like, I mean, and that was so like, that was so reactionary. That was so un-Batman. Like, he had like a fucking full moment of weakness. Like, he lost his temper. Like, he
Yeah.
lost his head. Like, you could just go back to your fucking apartment and grab a hair with DNA on it from the hairbrush because she's been fucking bedding you for weeks. Like, you didn't have to do that. That was psychotic. Yeah, and I mean, again, we're displaying Bruce as like mentally unbalanced, right? At the time, like, he's got to be off kilter for this whole thing to work.
Unless, and what I think what I hoped from all of this, in the same way that, because it is, I keep thinking of Grant Morrison's Batman. So Grant Morrison's Batman run had Jezebel Jet as the love interest, and it's not as sincere as this. It's not as emotionally interesting as, well, not interesting, but I don't know, kind of relatable as this. But he has his Bruce Wayne in that story appear to fall for Jezebel Jet, and then it's revealed at the end that he knew all along, and some of the older scenes kind of retcon as a consequence. And I was just wondering if I really hope that Kevin Smith's Batman was similarly structured in this. He's all just appears to be giving in. Otherwise, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, because it's not exactly Batman.
No.
At all.
Yeah. And he's crying. It's like, I'll never be normal, will I? And they're all crying together, and you're just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then and then he takes her home, or he takes the how the fuck does it happen? He takes in Baphomet. That's fine. He finally gives in to the romance.
Like a giant titty. He just takes his cowl off and goes, "It's me, Bruce Wayne." Blurp, blurp.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. But I like, there is the weirdest part was like all of like, so Robin, and it's got a lot of locker room talk in this. Like, that's part of Batman's universe is locker room talk, in that, like, they're all out on the court, but then when we're in the change room, they're just like talking about bitches, or like other guys and their etiquette. And so, like, yeah, they're just like, oh man, that guy takes his mask off too soon, it's just like, and Batman even freaks out, I'm not ready for this commitment. It's just about everybody's worried about looking at their dicks in the change room. And it's like, it took some time before I could get used to a guy's dick in the change room is essentially what I read this to be about. And I was like, that's funny, like that's a funny fucking angle, but like, it's totally inappropriate for Batman, but I like it because it's, it's just funny. It's just funny. Like, if you accept it for what it is, and you're not too fussy about, like, my Batman is Frank Miller's Batman, and you're just like, okay, like, who gives a fuck? The guy used to be like, he's a fucking cartoon.
That's where I'm at. Like, I mean, like, yeah, he used to be like prancing around doing like fucking whacked out dances, punching sharks. Like, I mean, like, let's get real. Like, Batman's like, this is I think that's what's charming to me, is that, like, he was allowed to do his own Batman. Like, I like that. I like other writers to do that. I mean, like, I know that Batman's like best service in his lane or whatever,
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I think that the character, after this many years and like the strong duration of like great moments, I mean, it has room for some creative interpretation. And I mean, like, that's the kind of stuff that's unique.
Yeah, well, definitely about Batman, though. Like, he can do anything, like, he's very versatile, even versatile to the point where, like, so she has a nickname for him in this. She's called him Dee for like 5 issues, and I'd never seen it before, and so it's just something Kevin Smith's definitely made up. And he has Alfred. Alfred said, joking, like, Dee, and so Silver St. Cloud is very like hee. And then she finally, just before her death, essentially explains It's just because like our first night we fucked so much, we came like we got into double digits, and but it's such a like a big panel. It's something he really thought about. Like this was, and it's really weird to say, but this was actually like this is a relatable moment. It was like they were in a really sexual relationship. You like Bruce Wayne and this woman, and they talked about fucking, and they had an in joke about fucking, and again, not super appropriate for Batman, but you were like, that makes sense for sex god Bruce Wayne, Batman, the guy that likes to fuck. Yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. They sell all of it. Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, I guess that's it.
that's it. It's just a Batman that likes to fuck. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. That's weird. It's a weird ending though. Want to give this a rating?
Yeah. I mean, like, I think I'm pretty comfortable around a 7 out of 10. 6.8.
I wouldn't want to give it more. I like maybe it was going to be a masterpiece. Probably not.
Oh yeah, I can't go off that. I can't go, I gotta go off what I've got. I mean, but I didn't read the first part. I didn't read Cacophony either. Maybe that would add something to it. Maybe that would take something away. Just going off the one book.
I don't think they're connected, are they? My
I know, I'm not sure. I thought that he had like a universe, like a 3-book.
Oh, I don't think so. I think this one just was supposed to be a similar sort of maxi series. It was just like a bigger self-contained something. I might be wrong about that. Yeah. Either way, yeah, that seems right. I wouldn't want to give it more than like 7 or something like that. 7.5. I would recommend it to someone who has read a lot of Batman. I wouldn't try to sell this as like this is the Batman you want to read.
No, I'm with you there. Like I like that well, I mean, like you joked around, but I mean, like really, if you wanna like set somebody on the path, and have them have a show-stopping Batman, you almost, funny enough, probably want to go to Frank.
Oh yeah, you start with Frank. you start with Frank. Like here,
Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we haven't talked about Frank the Tank in a while. I think that'd be a good return.
Dark Knight Returns.
Oh,
It's time for return.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, Jesus. Because like when we started this podcast, I was like, you could do the Dark Knight Returns any day of the week, but I'll, we'll just wait. It doesn't. It's not going anywhere. No shortage of words on that one. Yeah. Where are we on Clerks? I don't think we gave that a rating.
Clerks, I'm okay, right around a 7 out of 10 as well. Like I can't downplay it. I think it was good. I think it was like I think it also speaks to like a certain, like a generation, like a certain age bracket as well that's a little older now. Almost like a Gen X type of thing. I don't know if he like you said, the characters were supposed to be 22, so I don't know if he meant it that way, but the actors were all so much older that it just portrayed that way.
Yeah, I think that's why Melrose Place works, right? I'm sorry, there that dates us as well. I don't know, fucking nice draw. Yeah, but just any of those fucking teen dramas. But okay, this reminds me. Sorry, important. Kevin Smith. My ultimate shit list thing about Kevin Smith is that he is ultimately sort of an agent of nostalgia, and he's ultimately the agent of a sort of like nostalgia regarding the girl that got away. Because that's what even this Widening Gyre story is about. It's just like that. Oh, Silver St. Cloud left. Oh, not only did she leave, like she's only ever wanted to fuck me. And that, like it's this coming home in the form of a woman story that he has. That I don't know, whatever. That's I can see the appeal of that story, but like that's his story, and it's very. It just feels like really nerd culture in that respect. It's just like everybody really liked this because everybody and all the fucking nerds were like, yeah, man, there was that girl I really liked, and it just seems like a real nerd fucking thing. And I think that's my ultimate complaint. Otherwise, those are fun.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fair kind of Kevin Smith beef, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, Clerks 6.5 out of, like, I don't know, looking at it, but 7 out of enjoyment. Or whatever
Yeah,
that's worth.
that's where I'm at. I'm like, I just came back around to the moments and thought, okay, that's memorable. That's
Yeah.
staying with me. And I think that's why I own that ridiculous director's cut of it. Did you see that thing?
Oh, I saw that. Is it really a director's cut? Like, what did he do? Did he change things or?
I don't know. No, it might not be. It might just be a special edition.
Yields. Yeah, I wonder what his audio commentary is.
I don't know. I have one of those I have the box set weirdly for Clerks. I got one for Blade Runner. Yeah, I have one for Akira. I don't know why. Such weird movies. I might have one for Heavy Metal, which I've never watched before. Yeah.
Oh shit! It's just in the. Oh wow. Okay. I've never seen Heavy Metal either.
Oh.
To the consternation of a pal of mine. Yeah, that might be a thing to fucking tune in on. Why not? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's an animation masterpiece. I got it with Akira. I got it at the same time as Akira because I was like, okay, these are beast animes that happened like at a certain time, like a golden age almost of anime movies, and I've never seen either of them, and I just I treated myself and went deep on Akira, and then forgot to watch Heavy Metal, and then I think it got put away in storage.
Oh shit. Well, gentle viewer, I don't know. Could go a lot of ways based on things we talked about in this. Yeah, and so I don't know. We'll see you later.
Yeah, try not to suck any dicks through the parking lot.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.